here, and welcome to part 2 of my retro review for The Legend of Zelda. And if you missed part 1, then go check it out. We covered the original Zelda games for the NES, the Super Nintendo. We covered the ones for the Game Boy, and we covered the just astonishing games for the Nintendo 64. If you missed part 1, go check that out, and then come back here and watch part 2. Alright, we're going to cover the rest of the games and a couple of little bonuses. So let's go ahead and get started with the one for the Zelda game that came out on the GameCube. It's The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. This was another game that I just had to have. I just got myself a GameCube. I actually bought a GameCube way before this game ever came out. You know, the GameCube games were intriguing me at the time when it first came out, and, you know, games like Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. Melee, you know, the Metroid games, excuse me, you know, stuff like that. And I had this game reserved, and there was an extra bonus if you reserved that game, and you got, for free, you got this. It's a re-release of the Ocarina of Time on the GameCube, but it has a special feature called the Ocarina of Time Master Quest Edition. What this basically is it's a 2-game disc, and it's got the original Ocarina of Time video game on it, but it's also the Master Quest is honestly what it's a second quest. It's the same game, except they tweaked the levels here and there. The levels are much, much more difficult and much more challenging. And I don't believe there was ever a player's guide that got released for the Master Quest Edition, which made it that much tougher, yet that much more addictive. It's like they took Ocarina of Time and raised the notch up just a bit more. And it was just so awesome. And I got this thing for free just for reserving this. Bonus. But this was a good game. I got to admit, when it first came out, I hated the way the characters were rendered. The animation looked like a cheap Dragon Ball Z-esque ripoff. You know, the animation looked so terrible. But this is one of those games where you're going to have to look past that and focus directly on the gameplay. The gameplay is what makes this game a success. And I mean, we get the old school formula back. You know, Link saving Zelda from Ganon, and it involves the Triforce, and the legendary lost land of Hyrule. Hyrule has flooded over, and it's, you know, this kind of felt like the actual sequel to Ocarina of Time, because it tells the story of Ocarina of Time before you start the game. And I think, you know, it takes place, like I say, hundreds of years after Ocarina of Time ended. So I guess you could treat this as the actual sequel, but that was truly a surprising success. At least it was for me. The next game that came out on the GameCube was actually a follow-up to the second game on the re-release of Link to the Past, which was called Four Swords. And this is what they came out with. It was called Four Swords Adventures. This was a game like the Four Swords attachment on the Link to the Past Game Boy release, that you could play 4 Links. One was red, one was green, one was purple, and one was blue. And you could play all 4 Links at the same time. Now, in terms of difficulty, this, in my opinion, this was the easiest Zelda game to play. All it is just walk up, walk right, walk this way, walk over here, walk over there, slash, 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 kill, kill, kill. Granted, there are puzzles in this game, but sometimes they were really, really easy to figure out. I think this was kind of like an intermission you know, keeping our appetite wet for the upcoming Zelda game afterward. You know, it wasn't the most challenging game, but it was still addictive to play. Very nicely done. What else can I say about it? Now, before the next game came out on the GameCube and for the new console back then, the Wii, we had another portable game. For the Game Boy Advance, this is The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap. This was odd. I mean, this was an odd game, but this has probably got to be my favorite portable Zelda game. This has got to be my favorite out of all the portable Zelda games, including even, Phantom Hourglass, which I'll cover later on. But this has got to be, out of all the portable games for Zelda, this has got to be my favorite. It's so addictive, just like all the Zelda games have been. It deals with how Link gets his hat. It deals with him and Zelda being childhood friends instead of meeting for the first time in Hyrule Castle. And you get so many great characters, so many great enemies, so many puzzles. It's just, this is another one of those Zelda games I can't quit playing. I still have the original box to it, and I still can't quit playing it. It's that fun. And I don't have this next game for the Wii yet, but I will. But for now, you have to settle for the GameCube version. Hell yeah, Twilight Princess. This was a game I was waiting for. When I saw the original advertisements for this game, I said to myself, I had to have it. It didn't even have a working title. It was just called The Legend of Zelda, and that was it. The original advertisements didn't have an actual subtitle to the actual game, and it didn't matter to me. I wouldn't have cared what it was called. I had to have it. It looked incredible, and it seemed like it could play incredible. And guess what? I was right. This game is just awesome. This game just kicks so much ass. It was worth the wait. It was worth the price. It's worth everything. This is the definite example of a 5-star game. This is probably the best game that the GameCube ever had. If you missed that game, then what the hell was your problem? The last game that came out, the one that I own, is The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. This was the first game on the Nintendo DS. And I don't know. This wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I got to be honest. This wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but still very good. It's a bit shorter than I expected it. And it goes back to the Wind Waker tradition, sailing on a boat through the waters and everything. It's okay. It's not the most addictive Zelda game out there, but still, I'd say it's all right. I'd say go ahead and buy it. Now for the bonuses. Let's see if I got time to cover it. Now, you want to know how big a Zelda fan I am? Well, look at this. This is the entire cartoon series, The Legend of Zelda from 1989, in a 3-disc box set. Look at this shit. Now, am I a fan or am I a fan? Part of the old Super Mario Brothers Super Show back in 1989, and you gave us that immortal line, "Excuse me, princess." I had to do that. Call me a nerd. Call me a geek. Go ahead. I don't care. I'm proud of it. There you go. And the other bonus I wanted to show you, I got this just for subscribing to Nintendo Power. The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. It collected the original 2 games on the NES and the 2 games on the Nintendo 64, which is one of the beefs I have with it. Yet we get another re-release of Ocarina of Time, which means I have Ocarina of Time not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. I have 4 copies of Ocarina of Time. But who cares? It's Zelda. There you go. Now, when it comes to Spirit Tracks, I don't really know what to say about that game. It looks kind of hokey, but I'm sure it'll be great since it's a Zelda game. I'm going to, say that it looks like crap, but, it's not the first time I've been proven wrong. It may look like crap, but then again, it might play well. It might be a good game, because that's the way I felt about the Wind Waker. I thought it looked like crap, and it turned out to be awesome. So here's hoping for Spirit Tracks. So thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, follow me on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm glad you enjoyed this. So until next time, everybody, I'll see you later.